Hi, everybody. Hope you're having a good day today. Thank you for joining me. Today, we're going to talk about all of your painting needs for reborning your baby. And so, let's go ahead and jump right in. I laid out the entire baby here because I wanted to remind you of a few things. Some helpful tips that will help make the paint look more natural. The first is actually going to be try to paint all of your pieces at one time, because that way your paint will be more consistent unless you have a formula all of your own that will keep your paint consistent every time you paint. And for the most part, then you can add your layers on one at a time. And so when you paint the baby, you bake the baby, and then you paint your next layer, and then you bake that. And so that's the reason why you want to try to paint all of your parts at one time. Okay? So let's talk about these here. These are all women know these. These are our cosmetic wedges. And I have two different types here. One is going to be 28 pieces from the Dollar Tree for $1. And then the other is going to be 15 pieces from CVS for $3.24. They're normally $4 something. And so the reason why I have two different types of wedges here is because they're used for different reasons. The CVS ones are jumbo wedges, and the Dollar Tree ones are the general size of the cosmetic wedges that you see. These jumbo wedges, what you will do with these, and you can see the difference in the size. Let's pull this one apart. And what you'll do with these wedges, the jumbo wedges, is cut off the edges with some scissors. That way, when you're using it to paint your baby, you won't have straight lines of paint going across the baby's skin. And so these are typically used for painting larger masses. And so if you're painting the back plate or the front plate or the baby's head, the last thing you want are straight lines across your baby's head. And so cut off those edges to get rid of those straight lines. These absorb a lot of paint, and that's the reason why they're good for covering large parts of the body. These are good for the same reason if you're doing, this method here of damping and stamping your baby. But it will take you a lot longer to do it with these. And these are very, very well when you're using them to blend in the crevices of the baby's body. And so in the creases, when you're blending that paint, these are used to do that. Okay? All right, the next thing we're going to talk about are going to be paintbrushes. So I originally bought about a 7-piece set from Walmart. It was about $5 for something. And later on that day, I went to another Walmart and I ran across these, and this was the same price. And so I thought, why not get this so that I have more of a selection of paintbrushes? Everything's going to come in handy because I'm going to need these paints to spread paint across my baby. I'm going to need the mop paintbrushes to pick up paint in areas that I don't want it to be, or areas like the fingers when the paint pools in the baby's fingers and you want to get that out of there. Some of these brushes will be very useful for that. And so $4.77 at Walmart. And then we have some sponsors. And so my favorite Reborn YouTuber, CustomDollBaby.com, I actually saw her use these on the baby's knees and elbows. And what it did was it helped to create a texture like your knees and your elbows. The skin there isn't smooth, and so this helps to create that realness in the baby's elbows and knees when you want to create texture. And then our good old handy dandy cotton swabs. Now, these are not the ones that I'll likely use. The ones that I will use, I ordered from Bountiful Baby for $2.99. And the reason I ordered those is because they come with a pointed swab. And so when you're trying to get, like I said, the paint out of the baby's fingers, depending on the sculpt, how easy is it going to be? Sometimes you're not going to be able to fit a wedge edge into that baby's finger. And so having those pointed swabs really, really helps. Also, when you're trying to blend in between those creases, you would like to use a pointed cotton swab. So those are going to be very helpful. The next thing that I will show you is going to be my palette. And these you can find just about anywhere, but I wanted this one specifically because this one actually has a cover. And so when I paint and I don't use up all of the paint in my palette, I can cover it up and then come back to it the next day. And the good thing about the paints that we're going to talk about, the Genesis Heat Set paints, is that that paint will still be good the next day when you come back to it. And so you're not going to spend your time wasting money on buying more paint. Then what I have here is a Lazy Susie, probably the most basic one you'll ever see in your life. I bought it from the Dollar Tree for $1, and I just thought it was a good idea as opposed to reaching over things and getting stuff in my paint, just to have that Lazy Susie there so I can turn it when I need to. Then I have some small containers that I purchased from Bountiful Baby just to store my paint. So let's say there's a color that I run across that I just love for my creases, and I want to make a big batch of that. Big, I mean this little. For my creases, then I want to keep it stored and protected in one of these containers. And I'm pretty sure you can find these anywhere, but it was convenient just to grab them off of Bountiful Baby. All right. And so finally, we're going to talk about this dispenser here. And so I purchased this for 88 cents at Walmart, and it's just a dispenser bottle. And the reason I have this is because what you're going to use a whole lot of is this right here. And so this is odorless mineral spirits that I purchased from Walmart. This container was probably somewhere between $17 and $18. And as opposed to handling this gallon all the time, I'm going to go ahead and pour some in here and keep it in this bottle so that I can just pour it when I need it. Okay? So that you're going to use a lot of. And the reason you're going to use a lot of that is because the paints require it. I don't think there's a paint color that is used without being thinned. Could be wrong. Again, I'm not an expert, but not based on what I've seen. So let's talk about the paint.